In the previous session, we have seen some of the data transfer instructions like moving contents between two registers and also between the memory and the register, that is using load and store instructions. We have also seen the load multiple and store multiple instructions. So one more speciality of the ARM processors is that they support memory accesses with pre-indexing and post-indexing. So what do you mean by this pre-indexing? Pre-indexing in the sense, before you perform the operation, you can index, or after you perform the operation, you can index. What do you mean by indexing? Indexing means adding some number to the register, to the base register, adding some number so that you get a relative address, right? An address which is the sum of contents of a register along with some relative address. Okay, that is called an offset address. So you add the register with an offset before you perform the memory access or after you perform the memory access. If it is done before performing memory access, it is called pre-indexing. If it is done afterwards, it is called post-indexing. For pre-indexing, the register holding the memory address is adjusted. Okay, and then the memory transfer takes place with the updated address. Okay, so this is the one example of data transfer between memory for memory access with the pre-indexing. Okay, this is pre-indexing, wherein you are doing like LDR.W. LDR stands for load register, right? W.W means it is 32-bit instruction. R0 is the destination, comma, in the square brackets, you have R1, comma, hash offset with an exclamatory sign. So what happens in this case is, you are going to read a memory whose address is specified by R1 plus offset. Okay, R1 plus offset. So before performing the operation, the address is first calculated, that is R1 plus offset, and from that location pointed by R1 plus offset, the content is read into R0. One word is copied into R0. Okay, so this exclamation sign indicates that the base register R1 is updated with R1 plus offset. So what you understand by this is, there can be instructions without the exclamation mark also. If you do not put this exclamation mark, that means you are going to calculate R1 plus offset and then you are copying the contents from R1 plus offset into R0, but R1 remains as it is. If you put exclamation mark, that means R1 will be updated with R1 plus offset. Okay, so exclamation sign indicates that the base register R1 will be updated. If it is not put, that means base register R1 will remain as it is, but this address will be calculated and it will be copied into R0. Okay, so there are different sizes again for pre-indexing memory access instructions with load and store operations. So this is the one that we have seen in this example. Okay, the first one, LDR.W, RD, comma, in the brackets, RN, comma, hash offset. So Rn plus offset is calculated and Rn is updated, okay, and the contents of that pointed by that particular address is copied into RD. So why it is called pre-indexing is, before the memory access, the indexing is done, that is the calculation is done. So if you use LDRB, that means you are copying a byte from this particular address. If you use LDRH, that means you are copying a half word from this particular address. If you use LDRD, that means you're copying a double word from this particular address into two registers, RD1 and RD2. Okay, so if you are using LDR-SB and SH, that means you are going to perform sign extension. What do you mean by sign extension is, you are copying a byte here. Okay, so when you copy byte, only 8 bits will be copied. What will be stored in the upper 24 bits? RD will be 32 bits. So LDR-SB will copy only 8 bits. What happens to the other 24 bits? The other 24 bits will have the same value as the MSB of the 8 bits that are copied. Okay. Similarly, LDR-SH. SH means sign extend half word. So half word means 16 bits will be copied. Then the MSB will be copied into upper 16 bits. Okay. So that way you are performing sign extension. Sign extension is done in order to keep the sign as it is. Suppose that MSB was 0, that means the number is positive, right? That means if all the upper bits are zeros, that means the number will be positive. Suppose the MSB is 1, then the number is negative. So you have to put all the MSBs, all the upper bits as ones, then the number will remain negative. Okay, so that's the principle of extending the sign, to retain the sign as it is. If the negative number will remain negative, positive number will remain positive. Okay, similarly, store operations, in store operation, what happens is content of this register is copied into the memory location pointed by the sum of these two. Okay, that is called pre-indexing. And after that, after you perform this calculation, Rn will be updated. Okay, Rn will be updated. That's why there is an exclamation mark. Similarly, storing a byte, storing a half word, storing a double word from two registers into the memory location pointed by this. This is pre-indexing, wherein the indexing is done before the memory access. There is also another concept that is called post-indexing. Post-indexing means after performing memory access, you are going to update the register. Okay, so here there is no exclamation sign because it is always updated. Okay, it is always updated. The base register is always updated. Post-indexing carry out the memory transfer using the base address specified by the register, and then they update the address register afterwards. Okay, so this is one example of a post-indexing. Here ldr.w r0 comma r1, in the brackets there is only r1. There is no r1 comma hash offset or something like that. Okay, so what happens here is contents of memory register pointed by R1 will be first copied into R0. Then R1 will be updated with R1 plus offset. So after the memory access, the base register is updated. That is called post indexing. So when post indexing is done, there is no need of exclamation sign because it is compulsorily updated. The base register is compulsorily updated. Otherwise, there was no need of mentioning this at all, right? If you do not need to update, there was no need of mentioning this. We would just write ldr.w r0 comma in the brackets r1. It would perform this operation. Since we have to update r1 after copying, we are going to use comma hash offset. So r1 will be replaced with r1 plus offset. Okay. Similarly, similar to pre-indexing and the post-indexing operations are also available for different sizes, for bytes, half words, and double words. Same thing. This is the basic instruction. ldr.w indicates 32-bit instruction. rd comma in the brackets rn comma hash offset. So if you use bhd, you will be using it for byte, half word, and double word. Similarly, SB and SH stands for sign extension of a byte and sign extension of a half word. Similarly, we can have store word, 32-bit word from a register into a memory location, and then update that register with Rn plus offset. Okay, so for a byte, half word, and double word, you can have these particular suffixes B, H, and D to perform for different sizes. Okay, so that's about pre-indexing and post-indexing. Apart from that, to access memory locations, we also have push and pop instructions. So this is specifically, we use it for stack memory. Okay, push and pop instructions. So we have seen this in the first module also, wherein we have seen the push and pop operations, stack implementation and all. So you can have multiple bytes pushing at once or popped at once. So suppose, this is the syntax: push in the flower brackets, you need to write a list of registers in the order in which they have to be pushed. Suppose you write R0, R4 to R7, R9. Then R0 will be pushed first. Then R4 will be pushed. R5, R6, R7, then R9 in that order. Okay. So it's a first in, last out operation, right? Whichever has was pushed last will be popped out first. Similarly, popping can be done like pop in the brackets. Multiple registers can be used. If at all you are using sequence registers in sequence, you can put a dash in between. Otherwise, you can put a commas in between to separate the registers. Okay, this is the way we use push and pop instructions. So normally, push instruction will have a corresponding pop with the same register list, but it is not always necessary. Okay, sometimes while performing some operation, you need to store the contents of R1 and R2 into the stack. You can push R1, R2. While popping, you need to pop in the same order, right? R1, R2 first, then R3, right? You should pop R2 first, then R1. Sorry, R1, R2. You should pop R2 first, then R1. But suppose you are using sequences, you can write like if you are pushing R0, R1 to R2, or if you have three registers, R1 to R3. If you pop R1 to R3, it will be copied in the opposite order. Okay. Suppose there is an example here. When you use push, okay, push R0, R3 link register. So what happens in this case? you are going to push these registers R0 to R3. Then you are also pushing the link register LR. What do you have in link register? In link register, you have the address of the next instruction to be executed. Is it right? So in link register, you know, whenever you are going to branch, right, the link register will hold the address of the next instruction. I mean, after branching, where it has to return, that will be held in link register. After returning from the branch, where it has to start the execution from, that will be there in link register. So when you perform that operation or subroutine, and when you return, you need to get the contents of this stack. Get contents of the registers that you have put on the stack, that is R0 to R3, back into the same registers. But link register is going to be copied into program counter, because program counter will point to the next instruction to be executed, right? So the contents of link register will be copied into program counter. So this is the same thing that we have seen in the stack implementation in the first one. Okay. Instead of popping link register back into the same and then branching to the addressing link register, we pop the address value directly into the program counter. The link register is directly copied into program counter, so that execution starts from that particular address. Okay. Apart from that, you know, there are moving special registers. So we have seen moving data between two registers, from between memory and registers. Now we have between registers and special registers. Between special registers and registers, you know, if you want to have access for data transfer, we have to use only the special instructions MRS and MSR. MRS stands for move special register to register. MSR stands for move register to special register. Okay. MRS, suppose PSR is a special register, right? Program status register. From here, if you want to copy the contents to R0, you have to use MRS, move special register to register, R0, PSR. Suppose you want to copy a register into a control register. Control register is also a special register. You can use MSR, right? So this way you can use MRS and MSR instructions to access the special registers. So unless you are accessing the APSR, that is application program status register, you can use MRS and MSR to access other special registers only in privileged mode. Okay, you can use only in privileged mode, but APSR can be used in the user mode also. Okay, in the non-privileged user mode also. Okay, so that's about MRS and MSR. One more thing is for immediate data. The last one that is remaining is accessing or copying or moving an immediate data into the registers. Moving immediate data into a register is a common thing to do. For example, if you want to access a peripheral register, so you need to put the address value into a register beforehand. First, address has to be loaded, right? So to load that address, whenever you use an in indirect addressing mode, first you need that address into the register, right? How to copy that? That is using immediate addressing mode. You can use move S. Move S stands for move with the status flag updated. S suffix indicates that the status flags are updated. Okay, move S R0, hash the number. This will indicate that immediate value 0x12, that is hexadecimal 12H, is copied into R0. If it is more than 8 bits, you know, you have to use a thumb 2 instruction, that is move W. Okay, so move W dot W for it means it is a wide, move wide instruction. So R0, hash 32-bit number. Okay, it's a 16-bit number, right? 16-bit number is copied into R0. Similarly, if it is 32-bit, you can use 2 instructions to set the upper and lower halves. Okay, so move W means you can write move R0, hash 0x789A. This will be in the lower half. Then move T. Move T stands for move top, right? Top means the upper 16-bit will be loaded. The upper 16-bit of R0 will be loaded with this particular number. So the contents of R0 will be, upper bit will be 3456, the upper 16 bits will be 3456, lower 16 bits will be 7898. Okay, so this is the way you can use the move instruction with different suffixes to load the immediate data into certain registers. Okay, these are all the instructions of data transfer. Apart from this, there is there are some pseudocodes that we are going to use. We call them LDR and ADR pseudocodes. LDR is a load instruction which we have already seen, but we can also use it as a pseudo instruction to load certain addresses. Okay, to load certain addresses. So we will see what it means. So it is used to set the registers to a program address value, certain address value. If you want to load into certain registers, you can use LDR and ADR. So it is not a real assembler command, but the ARM assembler will convert it into a PC relative load instruction to produce the required data. Okay, to generate 32-bit immediate data using LDR is recommended. So in move instruction, we cannot directly get immediate 32-bit immediate data. You have to use two instructions like this, right? First to load the lower 16-bit. Next, in the move T means in the upper 16-bit, you have to load another 16-bit data. So instead of that, if you use LDR, we can get the 32-bit immediate data directly into a register. So how is it? We will see that. So this will give better readability, and the assembler might be able to reduce the memory being used if the same immediate data are reused in several places of the same program. So here is an example. If the address is a program address value, the assembler will automatically set the LSB to 1. Why the LSB has to be 1? Because in any program, okay, in any instruction, in all the instructions, you know, the addresses, when they are copied, the LSB has to be 1. Because if LSB is 0, it indicates ARM mode. If LSB is 1, it indicates thumb mode, right? So in Cortex M3, there is only thumb state. There is no ARM state, right? So that's why all the LSB has to be 1. So automatically it will be set to 1. For example, what we mean is, suppose there is an instruction, move R0, R1. Okay, so this move R0, R1 is at an address 4000H. The address of this particular instruction is 4000. So if it is 4000, okay, it is given here, the address is 4000. At this particular instruction, you give a label address 1. Okay, so this address 1 is actually the address 4000H. Okay, so you want this address to be copied into R0 initially. If you want to copy the address into R0, you can use LDR R0, is equal to address 1. This equal sign followed by address 1 indicates that the address pointed by this label has to be copied into R0. Okay, so at this particular address, you have an instruction, and the address is 4000H. That 4000 means the LSB will be 0. But in any instruction, the address has to be instruction, the address LSB has to be 1. That is why by default, you know, the R0 will be set to 4001. The next immediate odd number will be assigned to R0. As this is 4000, 4001 will be copied into R0. Okay, you'll find that LDR instruction will put 4001 into R1. That is LSB is set to 1 to indicate that it is a thumb code. Okay, by default it will make it 1. If it is 4001, you should understand that the address is actually 4000. Okay, because it cannot start at an odd address. It has to be a multiple of 4, right? It has to start at an even address. That's why it is understood that this move R0, R1 is at 4000H, and 1 indicates that it is in thumb state. So LDR, you know, when you use equal to and a label, that means you are going to copy a 32-bit address into R0. So it's like you're loading a 32-bit address here, right? 32-bit immediate data is copied into R0 by using this particular pseudo instruction. But if at all there was a data, if address 1 pointed to some data, for example, if you have DCD 0x0, DCD stands for define constant data, right? Define constant data. It's a data. It's not an instruction like move instruction or something. It's an directive which indicates some data. Here there is no need to have 0 in the LSB. So when address 1 points to such things like data, LSB will remain as it is. So R0 is set to 4000 itself. There is no change in the LSB. If you use LDR R0, is equal to address 1, R0 will be set to 4000. Okay. Just like using LDR, we can have ADR. ADR stands for address. It is specifically used for loading the address. So here what you can avoid is, you can avoid using that equal to. If you use the same thing with LDR, you should have used equal to here. LDR R0, is equal to address 1. But here you can avoid using that equal to symbol. If you write ADR R0 comma address 1, the address of the address 1 is copied into R0. Okay, address of the label address 1 is copied into R0. Here the address is 4000, so R0 will become 4000. Okay, so you can load the address value of a program code into a register without setting the LSB automatically. So here the LSB is not set. Okay, so if you do use LDR, LSB will be set automatically. To avoid that, if you want the exact address, you can use ADR, wherein 4000 will be loaded into R0. So also there is no need of equal sign as you are used in LDR. So this way you can load the address of any instruction into any register by using ADR instruction. So LDR obtains the immediate data by putting the data in the program code, and it uses a PC relative load to get the data into the register. Okay. Whereas ADR, it tries to generate the immediate value by adding or subtracting instructions based on the current value of the program code. So it's not possible to create all immediate values using ADR, and the target address label must be in a close range. Otherwise, it is not possible to get the exact address. Okay. But ADR can generate smaller code size compared to LDR. That's the advantage of ADR. So these are all the data processing instructions that we have seen. Sorry, data transfer instructions or data moving instructions that we have seen. Next category of instructions are data processing instructions. Data processing in the sense, we are not just moving the data, we are performing some operations on that data. There are again multiple types in this. You have arithmetic instructions, logical instructions, shift and rotate instructions, okay, reverse operation instructions, then also bit manipulation instructions, right? There are multiple things here. So first we will see some arithmetic instructions. So suppose you consider add, add, it can operate between two registers or between one register and an immediate data value, right? So it can have two operands. Both can be registers, or one can be an register and one can be an immediate data. This is one instruction, add R0, R0, 1. Here what happens is, what you have first is the destination, right? R0 plus R1 is calculated and the sum is copied into R0, right? Then add S stands for, it is addition with the status flags updated. R0, R0, hash 0x12. Hash 0x12 is the immediate data. R0 is added with 12H and the result or the sum is stored in R0. Similarly, you can have a 32-bit instruction, add.w, R0, R1 plus R0, R1, R2. Here R1 and R2 are added and the sum is stored in R0. Okay, neither of the operands is the destination. In 32-bit instruction, there can be a different register as the destination. So R0, R1, R2 means it will add R1 plus R2 and the sum will be stored in R0. Okay, so all these are performing addition itself, but the syntaxes and their binary codes, that means the machine codes for each of these are different. Okay, with the traditional thumb instruction syntax, whenever we use a 16-bit thumb code, an add instruction can change the flags in the PSR. If it is a 16-bit instruction, if you just write add, it will update the flags. But in 32-bit instruction, you can choose whether you want to update the flags or not. If you write S, then only it will update the flag. If you do not write yes, then it will not update the flag. Okay, suppose you write add.w, R0, R1 plus R1, R2, the flags will remain unchanged. But if you want the flags to get updated, you need to add S here, okay, in the add instruction. Then only the flags will get updated. Apart from add instruction, we also have other arithmetic functions like subtract, multiply, and divide. Again, sign divide and unsigned divide. These instructions, they can have the suffix S or not. If there is suffix S, that means the flags or APSR should be updated. Otherwise, the APSR will not be updated. In most of the cases, if UAL syntax is selected, that means a unified assembler language is selected. And if S suffix is not used, okay, then the 32-bit version of the instruction would be selected. Because if you use 16-bit versions, normally 16-bit instructions, they all update the APSR. But only in 32-bit instructions, you have the choice not to update the APSR. Okay, so that's why whenever you do not suffix with S, normally 32-bit instruction will be selected and the flags will not be updated. Okay. So these are different arithmetic instructions that we have. Add, there are multiple types. Add RD, Rn, Rm. That means you're adding Rn and Rm and storing the result in RD, a third different register. Then we have add RD, Rm. Means you're adding RD and Rm, storing result in RD itself. Okay. So then add RD, hash immediate. That means you're adding RD with immediate data, storing the result in RD itself. Add RD, Rn, hash immediate. You're adding Rn with an immediate data, then storing the result in RD. Okay, these are all, RD means it can be any register. Similarly, Rn can be some other register. Rm can be some other register, right? So it's an indication that they are different registers. So this is just adding the contents of registers and register with an immediate data. Suppose you want to add carry also, then you have instructions ADC. ADC means add Rn and Rm plus carry flag, then store the result in RD. Similarly, RD and Rm plus carry, store the result in RD. RD with immediate data, with carry, store the result in RD. Okay. Then add W means you're adding, it's a add wide. Okay, it's a wide instruction. Rn is added with the immediate data, which is of 12-bit. Okay, 12-bit immediate data. Add W means you're adding Rn with 12-bit immediate data and storing the result in RD. So similarly, you have subtract instructions. Subtract is SUB. SUB, RD, Rn, Rm. What this will do is it will subtract Rn minus Rm and store the result in RD. Subtract RD, hash immediate means it will subtract RD minus hash immediate and store the result in RD. Okay. Then you have subtract RD, Rn, hash immediate. So what it will do is it will subtract Rn minus immediate and it will store the result in RD. So here it will not consider the borrow. So there is another instruction SBC. This will subtract with borrow. Okay, subtract with borrow. Here RD minus Rm minus borrow it will do. If you use SBC, RD minus Rm minus borrow and store the result in SBC. SBC W means for wide. Okay. Rn minus immediate minus borrow. So whenever you have SBC, borrow will be subtracted from this and the result will be updated. So just like SBC, you have RSB. What RSB stands for is reverse subtract. Okay, on contrary to subtract, you have reverse subtract. Here what happens is if you write RD, Rn, hash immediate, if it was normal subtract, we would subtract Rn minus hash immediate. But in this case, it will subtract the opposite way, hash immediate minus Rn. Okay, reverse, hash immediate minus Rn, and the result is stored in RD. Similarly, RD, Rn, Rm will subtract actually Rm minus Rn and store the result in RD. That is the reverse way. Instead of reversing the order in the instruction itself is different for this. Okay. Then you have multiply instruction. Multiply means two registers are multiplied. The result is stored in another register. So RD, Rm means it will multiply RD and Rm. Result is stored in RD. Okay. Multiply dot W. RD, Rn, Rm means Rn and Rm are multiplied. The result is stored in third register RD. Okay. So it's a dot W 32-bit instruction. Similarly, you have divide. In divide, you have unsigned division and signed division. UDIV stands for unsigned divide. SDIV stands for signed divide. Unsigned divide means it will take the numbers as unsigned without considering the sign. If you take S divide, signed divide, then MSB will, if it is 1, it will be treated as negative number. Otherwise, it will be treated as positive number. Here, RD, Rn, Rm. Rn divided by Rm is performed. Then the result is stored in RD. Here, Rn divided by Rm is performed. And the result, that means result will have two parts, quotient and remainder. They will be stored in RD. Okay. So that way we have the different arithmetic instructions. So apart from this, there is multiply and accumulate. Okay. So in R, there is also multiply and accumulate instruction. So for signed and unsigned numbers, again, SMUL stands for, this is for long numbers. Okay, long numbers means the numbers are 32-bit here. When you multiply here, the numbers are actually 16-bit when you multiply RD and Rm. Because if it is 32-bit, when you multiply two 32-bit numbers, the result would need 64-bit register. But here you are loading it into a 32-bit register itself. That means the numbers are 16-bit first. When you multiply, you get a 32-bit number that can be stored into the destination register. But if you want to multiply 32-bit numbers, you should use smul l or umul l. L stands for long. Okay, the L suffix here stands for long. What happens here is you multiply two 32-bit registers and then you store the result in two different registers. The sum will be a 64-bit lower order RD and higher order RD. So there are two registers to store the product, not the sum, sorry, product. If you use smul L, only the product will be found. Rn multiplied by Rm will be calculated. Okay. So then the 64-bit result, the lower order result will be loaded in one register. Upper order or higher order result will be loaded in another register. Similarly, if you do umul, it will do the same for unsigned numbers. Smul is for signed numbers. Then what is this MLA stands for? MLA stands for multiply and accumulate. You can have MLA for normal 32-bit, normal 16-bit multiplication and storing it in 32-bit register. But if you use MLAL with S and U, it will indicate multiply and accumulate for long numbers. That means you are multiplying Rn with Rm and you are adding that product with the contents of RD high and RD low. So they will have some value, right? You are going to add the product of this with the initial values of this, right? So you show here plus is equal to. That means this will be the value which is there plus the product of Rn and Rm. That means you are going to accumulate the result. You are adding the product with the already present values in RD high and RD low. Here the same thing for unsigned numbers. You are adding this with the already present value of RD high and RD low. Okay, so these are some of the arithmetic instructions in ARM Cortex M3. Apart from this, we have other data processing instructions also, like logical instructions, shift and rotate instructions, reverse and sign extension and other things. So we will see them in the next classes.